You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back
So
to
you meant you don't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office.
Look. Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But just to be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying...
Convicted felon Donald Trump recently sat down for a softball interview with Laura Ingraham of the Fox Propaganda Network, and despite her best efforts, Trump visibly imploded during the discussion, waffling about whether he'll debate Vice President Harris and refusing to clarify about whether recent comments indicate that he intends to end democracy. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play in this interview. Donald Trump's recent interview with Laura Ingraham was disastrous, and she increasingly became visibly fed up with his refusal to stay on message, his terrible answers to obvious questions, and his refusal to just take layups when she offered them. And I want to start with these clips here in which he waffles about whether he will debate the vice president.
I want to do a debate, but I also can say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
And why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything. I want to.
So again, he's like, I want to debate, but I don't know if I will because everybody knows me and everybody knows her. She's awful. Well, why not debate her? Well, because everybody knows who she is. It's really not a good answer. I mean, Donald Trump and President Biden are two of the most famous people in the world, and he agreed to debate Joe Biden and agreed to 2 debates with the Democratic nominee, right? And this is important because what's funny is a lot of MAGA Republicans are trying to give cover for Trump here, backing out of his debate with the vice president by saying, hey, listen, Harris isn't the nominee. Well, neither was President Biden. It was before the Democratic convention. And by the way, during the first debate, it was before Donald Trump's confirmation as the Republican nominee. Neither of them were the nominee at the time of the first debate. And yet Trump agreed to it anyway. Why won't he agree to it with the vice president? Again, another clip on this subject.
And I say this. The answer is yes, I'll probably end up debating. I think actually the debate should take place before the votes start being cast.
So again, I want to debate her. I don't know if I will. Yes, I probably will. Why probably? She says yes. So really the holdout is you. Why probably? It's very interesting. And Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, the Democratic governor of Minnesota and a potential running mate for Vice President Harris, he thinks he has the answer, and I think it's a pretty good one.
Here's the great news. How often in 100 days do you get to change the trajectory of the world? How often in 100 days do you get to do something that's going to impact generations to come? And how often in the world do you make that bastard wake up afterwards and know that a black woman kicked his ass and sent him on the road? And that's something that guy's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. So I got to tell all of you, please, please do what you can. Here's the great news.
Yeah. It's obvious why Donald Trump is hesitant to debate the vice president. He was very confident that he could defend himself against President Biden or make President Biden look foolish. But he is clearly not nearly as confident about his chances against Vice President Harris. And the fear is pretty obvious, right? And that's, again, Laura Ingraham. She's apparently bought into the mythos surrounding Trump, right? This machismo, the authoritarian strongman cult of personality. He's, according to him, he's a very stable genius. He is a master debater. He understands, I understand foreign policy and domestic policy better than anyone. The best, some would say. And she's clearly bought in. So she's asking these questions and seeming disbelief. Well, like, Donald, you're so perfect. Why wouldn't you agree to debate this San Francisco radical liberal? It's because Trump is self-aware enough to recognize he could very well lose that debate, and probably will, given that she's more intelligent than he is and in the prime of her life, mentally speaking. I mean, my God, Donald Trump is 78 years old. He's the oldest presidential candidate in American history. A majority of Americans, according to some polls, 50% according to others, have doubts about his mental fitness to be president. And he also gave a disastrous debate performance against Joe Biden earlier in the year. It was just ignored by the press. He lied a record-breaking number of times. He refused to answer questions substantively. He would go back to previous questions to try to get the last word. He's on paper, he's just simply no match for a seasoned prosecutor and skilled debater who has a firm command of both domestic and foreign policy in a way that Donald Trump simply doesn't. And that's why he's afraid. The spokesperson for the Harris campaign talked about this as well. Quote, as Vice President Harris said last week, the American people deserve to hear from the two candidates running for the highest office in the land, and she will do that at September's ABC debate. Quote, if Donald Trump and his team are saying anything other than we'll see you there, and it appears that they are, it's a convenient but expected backtrack from Team Trump. Vice President Harris will be there on September 10th, and we'll see if Trump shows, end quote. This is referring to the second debate that had been previously agreed upon by the Biden-Harris campaign and the Trump campaign. There was supposed to be a debate on CNN, and then there was supposed to be a debate later on in September hosted by ABC. Trump wants to back out of it, says actually any future debate, any possible future debate should be hosted by Fox News, which of course would be home turf for Donald Trump. He wants, I think Bret Baier and Martha McCallum have actually said that they would host it if the vice president agrees, and perhaps she should take that chance. I think that she stands a very good chance of defeating Trump, even if he has the backing of Fox News, where they ask him softball questions. Mr. Trump, why are you so perfect? Madam Vice President, why is everything awful in the world because of you? That's the sort of question you would get from the Fox propaganda network. But I think even under those circumstances, the vice president would dominate Donald Trump. But again, very funny how he needs an extra bit of hand, needs an extra bit of assistance from a biased news network like the Fox propaganda network before he even considers a debate with the vice president. Also, and this goes back to the discussion, the interview that Laura Ingraham had with him on the Fox propaganda network, but this is for context. Donald Trump recently said, to nobody's surprise, a pretty strange thing for a former president and presumptive Republican nominee for president again to say about future elections. This is what Donald Trump had to say about people voting in the future, and it's relevant to the next clip I'm about to show you.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
Get out and vote, Christians. And then if you do it this one time, you'll never have to do it again. Why would you say that? There are going to be future elections, presumably by people either with different religious views or different policy views, even if they share your religion. Perhaps they don't think that policy should be informed by religion or should, affect the outcome for a particular religion's advantage. Given, that many of us in the anti-Trump coalition have been saying that Trump, even though he obviously is not personally Christian, right? He's as antithetical to the teachings of Christ as you could possibly find, even in a secular society. But he knows that the evangelical base sees him as a vehicle for political success. So it's like it's a mutual, symbiotic relationship, right, where they each feed off each other. Given that the Speaker of the House, a Trump ally, Mike Johnson, is a devout Christian, along with many other Republican leaders, and they devoutly push for a Christian nationalist agenda, which includes a nationwide abortion ban. Why would Donald Trump be talking about future elections in a way that if he wins this election, he's going to act in a way which would do some sort of permanent effect, making the Christian vote unnecessary in the future? What the hell does that mean? Well, Laura Ingraham tried to tease out that answer because, of course, there's been a lot of reporting on it. It's been very bad for Trump, and appropriately so. So she tried to tee up a softball, like, please, I'm giving you an out. Just pull the ripcord, get out of this. And he stupidly refuses to take it. And you can see as he drones on and on and on that she gets visibly flustered.
Attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that. I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. This was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish, and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined, because nobody's ever been treated so badly by this administration is destroying Israel, et cetera, et cetera. So with respect to like a statement like I made, that statement is very simple. I said, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. It's true. Because we have to get the vote out. Christians are not known as a big voting group. They don't vote. And I'm explaining that to them. You never vote. This time, vote. I'll straighten out the country. You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back to not voting.
You don't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office.
Look. Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But just to be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear by the left as well. They're never going to have another election. He's
Love it. Again, Laura Ingraham, devout Trump ally, being fed up with his incoherence, his endless non sequiturs, his stupidity, his just sheer buffoonery. She's like, I'm giving you a freaking layup, man. Just take it. It's right here. Just reach out and take it. This isn't tough. But he can't because he's profoundly stupid and authoritarian. So I think it's perfectly fair for people to have interpreted it the way that they have, which Trump may argue is uncharitable, but we're not obligated to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a malignant narcissist, a pathological liar, an authoritarian, an idiot. He's the very sort of person you should never give the benefit of the doubt to or any sort of charity, given that he's abused, brutally abused, the American people's charity since 2015, at least. That's where we are. But I love the panic on Laura Ingraham's face and in her voice as she tries to rescue Trump from himself. But it can't be done because he's unrescuable in this case. Love this stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments.